Hello, today I'm going to be unboxing this black goat hanging card from the Nyssa series. I'm probably saying that wrong. So she's also a 1/12 scale ball joint doll, but like the taller end of 1/12 scale. First off, I think it's very funny. Her face here in the box. I'm hoping I can move her eyes around because it just seems a little too silly. I think it's interesting how we've got this like clear box, but still have like the pull tab kind of tops and bottoms. I wish it was, one where you can just like pull it out and not have to like pry apart the glue. Just quick look at the box is pretty nice. I like the little style they've got going here where it's like a stage with a curtain and the logo and art here at the bottom. So I went with opening the box from the bottom to try and preserve the box as best as I could. And here we've got a little ID card for her, like the art on it, QR code, and then a little pamphlet of how the body works. And yeah, in the process of taking her out of the box, you can see that her eyes are loose and they kind of moved around a little. She looks pretty silly like that. We've got her clothes in a little bag, and here I'll pull her out. So here we've got the eyes. This is the backing plate, and they're just kind of like chips that rest in here, and then the backing plate holds them in place. All right, here she is with her eye chips set in place more properly. Her hair is, I guess, a little heavy in the back. It doesn't feel too heavy, but enough where it feels like it is just regularly tugging her head backwards. Part of that maybe is just how tightly she's strung, but her head just kind of wants to sit in that like slightly tilted, a little tilt up position. I do really like her face up. I like all of her eyes also do feel a little wonky. I'm just not crazy about this style of eye chip where it's just the tiny little tab in the center. Seems like they fall out of place kind of easily. And a lot of times they do not seem very well lined up. Like with the Nagi series, I am not crazy about their eye chips. And you can kind of see here with her where this eye is a little lower than this one. And it's especially more visible with this ankle because she's tilting her head up. If she wasn't tilting her head up, it wouldn't be as obvious. But hey, that's one of the reasons I don't like these eye chips. Like all the little symbols, like her little symbol there and her kind of like little moles she has. I like that they gave her moles. I don't feel like a lot of the dolls have. Don't see many dolls with moles. Another great thing is that all the hand pieces seem to have these little like red fingertips. So we've got that with the default hands and with the alternate hands. Another complaint is her hair doesn't really seem like I really pushed the back of her head onto this piece and it just is not staying. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I don't know what the problem is, but it is like, doesn't go all the way in. You're getting a gap down here at the bottom. Maybe I'm not sure, but the head and hair, it's not really secure. Again, I sometimes putting toilet paper in there just helps give you some traction and hold things in place, and so I might do that in a moment here. I do really like her hair sculpt. I like the art style of this series. I like the body sculpt is fun, kind of have this pear shape. It's a little bit smaller of a waist than I feel like is necessary when you are working with such a small scale. But I mean, it's still cute and stylized. She's got like this little bow here. I like the style they went with the hip joints where you can actually get, I guess, more turn here with the slot for the cord to go into. So you can, doesn't really want to go into it. And that rotation here at not a lot of the ball joint dolls always have that rotation, so that's a nice points of articulation. Seems like a decent, the arms arms aren't great, I'm gonna say. Okay, shoulders. Pretty fine elbow, actually. I feel like elbows can be tricky, but this little peanut is kind of slipping out of place. But I would say the way it wants to bend isn't actually too bad with some of the elbow joints on this scale. Though I do think the shoulder is kind of wanting for a better sculpt. The hands, yeah, I don't know. They seem like they wanted to, like there's the possibility for more to be happening there, but they're kind of, yeah, not greatly executed. They're okay. I think the way she's strung is kind of not great. Or the peanut is, oh my god. I mean, I guess one of the nice things about the hand is, so this is like a peg, and I'm not sure what you're supposed to do with this. I'm just using my fingernail pried into here to hold it down and pop this off, because you can't really pull it out because of the cord, but this is a nice alternative instead of having to worry about unhooking the hands at the little tiny S hook and losing it in the arm, because that whole process could be pretty annoying. And here you can see her hands kind of loose from this elbow peanut is pinching the elastic, so that would need some loosening up to get better flow through here of the elastic. So that's a little silly. So for the outfit real quick, I wanted to make a note that it seems like it should be easy enough to dress her with the dress having a seam just all the way down the back. I like that the bows are sewn on. These are just glued on. But that there's this underskirt, and so that's nice because I like more pieced things, so that'll give this more volume, but also, you know, just for kind of outfits you can piece together, having separate pieces like that's nice. This is just the underskirt and socks on. So yeah, just for an idea of what that looks like. Okay, here she is dressed in her basic outfit without the furry accessories. I'll add those in a moment. I will note that her sleeves, with how snug they are, did need to pop the hands off, even the fist hand. Seemed almost like it would have gone through, but yeah, that's another nice thing with the little like peg here for interchanging the hands more easily. And that is something to maybe take note of for when you're wanting to share clothes between different dolls and doll lines, is that these wrists will be snug. I mean, I guess this like underskirt goes under here too. That was another thing. I'm a little like, I suppose it gives it that volume, but it feels like with how the dress is just naturally structured, maybe it's not necessary, and the elastic was seeming very snug right here in the like mid back area. But yeah, I think just even the base outfit's pretty cute. She is overall very gray, but that's fun with the just how it heightens the then like little red accents that she has. They really stand out here. Her shawl has a fastening closure, a little button closure, so that can just snap on without having to take the head off or anything. The headband is on an elastic, and so what I'll do is I take her hair off and put it on over, like her neck part will go through here, and then I'll put the hair on and pull it back up. And her little leg warmers have a nice kind of elastic-ish, well, sort of. It doesn't really stretch out much there, but these should just slide on over her legs, feet. All right, here she is in all her glory. The back of her hair really does not want to stay on. I've even added toilet paper for traction, but especially with having the headband added, the back really just kind of pretty easily pops off. I really wish her face could tilt down a little more, because she just would look a little cuter, I think, instead of it tilting up, but that's fine. There it goes. One thing I like is how good she is at being able to stand with the shoes on. I guess I didn't really try to see how well she stands without the shoes on, but I don't think it would be so good. The feet are kind of little, and the hair is 100% a problem for keeping any center of gravity maintained. Oh my God. Okay. So yeah, I think my biggest complaint is how easy it is for the back of the hair to be popping off. I think it'll need some like carving in the back. One of the problems is the faceplate not pushing in all the way at the bottom. It has a very shallow spot for that. So if someone feels, daring enough to dig into their doll, like maybe that's the solution. I'm not crazy with the, I'm now seeing it, the blush placement on her nose. Like the way this shadow is being created, it looks, I don't know, maybe it's fine, whatever. I do think she's pretty cute. I really was looking forward to this series for a while. But, and specifically this doll, I love like little goats. I like the idea of like this little black goat, sort of the dark eeriness around that or implied and such. And I think her character design is really cute. I do really like her little ID card. I think overall she's pretty cute. I just have some annoyances with that back of the hair, but I don't think that's the biggest deal. I think the biggest deal for me is that her body's articulation isn't really great, in my opinion. The arms just kind of, the most you can do with them is flop them down in this direction. Here, she can kind of bend it here, or she can have it straight down, but there's not really much actual for posing. And I think that's just part of the problem with ball joint dolls, and maybe where some of my preference for the motion dolls comes in, where you can actually get some movement up here and some real poses that look more like lifelike and such. I guess I didn't really go over the knees. I don't know. They seem like typical knees. Feel sturdy. They feel sturdy, so there's that. And yeah, the feet don't really have any. But all in all, I think she's a pretty cute doll, and especially as like a little add-on to a series that I think is really great because you know what you're getting instead of just the blind box. And I like too that she's fairly a unique character in comparison to the regular set instead of just a recolor or something like that. So I like the design. I like the effort put in. And I do, and she goes still with the series without also being kind of out of place or anything. Just another character to go along with the regular 6 and then the hidden. So yeah, there she is. Thanks for watching. Bye.